In any city, in any country, go to any mental institution or halfway house you can get yourself to. When you reach the front desk, ask with no hesitation to visit someone who calls himself the Holder of Darkness. The worker will mock you, but you have to stay as calm as possible. Keep asking him until he stops denying and withdraws from his counter to guide you through the corridors. As his behavior changes radically, stay on guard, for if you start hearing one single tiny sinister hiss, you should turn around and flee as far as you can, covering your ears, because the time was bad. If you do not escape in time, the faint sound will turn into a dreadful growling that'll soon merge into a continuous shriek of sheer pain, until madness floods you and leaves you to die in a deafening agony. If the warden remains silent, he'll lead you to a closed door with neither handles nor lock. As he pushes it open effortlessly, you'll see an ascending winding staircase which can't possibly lead to any upper floor of the establishment. The door will close behind you and you'll not be able to push it back. Past this point, climb and do not turn back, or you'll fall into a bottomless pit waiting for living prey to chew upon. Do not count the steps, for knowing how many there are will drive you to insanity. One will then creak, and at that point, you should stop. Another door should appear on your left. If it is on your right, then pray for a swift passing. Enter slowly into the room, and a blinding, obscuring darkness shall descend upon you. You'll be required to walk straight forward, for straying even slightly will lead you to be devoured by the roaming and unknown creatures observing you with blinded and purulent eyes. You'll know you have arrived when coldness grips you. At that very moment, freeze, or you'll die by the hands of the holder who is standing right in front of you. In complete darkness, even closing your eyes will not prevent you from his horrid appearance. It'll form into your mind as the most outrageous monster ever conceived, and madness will try to creep into your brain as worms over a decayed corpse. His fulminating breath and constant mumbling would be enough to make you cry, but be advised not to utter anything louder than weeping, for you might wake what must not be awakened. The only question you'll be able to whisper without being torn apart will be, what do they fear? You'll feel movements all around you, as shudders animate your opponents. You'll hear what nameless and incurable diseases will strike the world if they were to be frightened, the countless terrors their own fright will unleash on those with a weaker mind than theirs. Amidst the atrocious enumeration of the endless sores the world will suffer, you might hear the simplest, almost ridiculous, yet implacable and certain truth they all fear. Do not move again. When your head is about to implode, it'll stop. If you're still able to move, you'll find a door in front of you which leads you outside of the ward. There, in the open, in the grass, a broken hourglass will wait for you. You are free to pick it up. It is Object 13 of 538. Your knowledge of their fears is up to you to share, but you may not want to use it as a weapon against them. In any city, in any country, venture across the highways and lonely roads until you reach the city's bottom rung. Walk among the ones society has cast away, beggars and poor picked raw by the demands of those better off. Should you come across a scruffy man under a large oak tree holding a bottle of liquor in a paper bag, his shirt sweat-stained and his pants muddied, do not be afraid to ask him if he knows of the one who calls itself the Holder of the Adversary. More than likely, he'll smile knowingly at you, like an old friend with whom you've just shared an inside joke. Do not be alarmed. The man knows of the one you search for. The less fortunate of us often knows things we'll never dream of. He'll guide you to a manhole and casually slide the metal lid off with one grimy boot. Tossing you a small flashlight which flickers precariously, he'll urge you down into the darkness. Once inside the putrid womb of the sewage system, you'll come to realize that it bears no unpleasant scent. No scent whatsoever, in fact. But, turning on the flashlight and gazing at your surroundings, you'll notice you are in a round room. On all the walls will hang partially decomposed bodies, their owners forever suspended in a state of half-awareness, feeling all the pain and horror of a body withering and rotting around them. Corpses litter the floors, and you may notice that one nearly touches you. Do not shrink back. To show cowardice would invite no creature or entity that you would do well to know. Once you have observed your surroundings, the smell will arrive. It'll be the most awful thing you could imagine. Human and animal excrement, sulfur, rotting bodies, burning flesh. You'll want to claw your nose from your face, and the watering of your eyes will nearly blind you. But do not cower, do not run, and resist the urge to vomit. You'll find the thought in your head, unbidden, "We are the remains of the ones who cannot face the adversary." There's no source of this whisper, though it may curl around you as if carried by the stench itself. Suddenly, the bodies will rupture and burst, one by one, releasing more of the horrible stench and bathing you in rotted bodily fluids and slimy chunks of human refuse. The corpses then will sink to the floor, and what rises from the slurry is a creature of pure beauty. Man, woman, or something else entirely. It depends on you yourself. It'll not be possible to shake your gaze from this gorgeous, naked human until you realize the creature is an idealized caricature of you. Confident, heart-achingly gorgeous, smiling a gentle, patient smile. It'll be everything you yourself could ever desire to become. You'll be overcome by a sudden jealousy, a total anger, a need to annihilate this perfect you. Do not give in, no matter how strong the temptation. If you do, you are doomed to the adversary's wrath, the eternal torment of the damned you have witnessed prior. There is only one question you must ask the exquisite creature. What could they destroy? The holder of the adversary will laugh at you melodically, condescendingly, and will explain to you as though you are a small, stupid child exactly the answer to your question. It'll spare you no details, even the most horrific. Though horrifying, the story will be interesting and calming to listen to, and you'll find yourself absorbed in a childlike fascination with the holder. You may liken its story to one told to you by a loved one or a guide when you were a child, and you'll know that you now have the key to defeating the adversary, that which the damned could not acquire. At the end of the story, the holder will ask, smiling pleasantly, "What will you do now, my child?" If it asks you anything else, or tells you something different, your fate is sealed, and when you eventually emerge from the sewer, the ragged people you have encountered will descend upon you like ravenous animals and tear you apart with tooth and nail, feeding on your body. There's no escape, only the knowledge that it'll happen. Regardless of your fate, the holder will place an object in your palm and close your hand around it. "You mustn't open your hand until you're free of this place," it'll say as a fitting goodbye. "Now, you must turn and leave, and do not look back. Once you escape the sewer, and if you're lucky, you may open your fingers. What you'll find there is a green plastic army man toy. That toy is Object 14 of 538. It understands how to defeat your greatest foe, and must never be allowed to join the rest.